What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Movie Emporium's Amazon Prime original review of The Tender Bar. This, of course, is directed by George Clooney. Now, before we begin, if you like this channel, awesome. Hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find out what's coming next. If you like any videos, awesome. Hit that like button, as well as commenting below on any videos you watch, including this one. So, The Tender Bar is a memoir story that is based off the book from J.R. Mooringer. It's a story about his life as a kid with a father who was absent. He had an uncle that his mother and he lived with, as well as his grandfather, who's played by Christopher Lloyd. The uncle, of course, is played by Ben Affleck. And in essence, for about an hour and 45 minutes, it kind of tells a story about how he tried to justify that his father, who was an abusive drunk, was somebody that he was wanting to meet, wanting to be with. It also tells the story of his kind of, rise up the ranks to eventually becoming a Pulitzer Prize winning author, and is going to Yale and meeting this woman who really didn't really want to have anything to do with him, even though they had sex and stuff like that. And it's in essence a story about how people kind of shape our lives and how the people that we really want to be there for us may not be the people that are actually truly there for him. So he has a friend that kind of tells him the truth. He has his uncle who's almost like a father figure. And then he has his mother who struggles like a lot of mothers do who were coming out of an abusive relationship and so on and so forth. And so, like I said before, this is a film that is based off the book that was written by J.R. Mooringer. It's actually, the screenplay is written by William Monahan, who won an Oscar for The Departed. And, of course, it's directed by George Clooney, who pretty much can direct whatever he wants at this point. He's an Oscar-winning actor. He's an Oscar-nominated director. He's a guy that seems to get, has a lot of passes when it comes to his directorial abilities, which, to be fairly honest, aren't the most well developed, I guess you could say. He came out with a great one called Good Night and Good Luck, as well as Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, and then it kind of went downhill from there. He really hasn't had a film that's been really that good, to be fairly honest. I think Ben Affleck wanted to direct this at one point, but he had some other projects he needed to work on, so he came in as an actor. But the funny thing is, even though George Clooney hasn't been putting out very good films through most of his career as a director, I'm still very optimistic for him as a director. I still want him to succeed. I want him to put out that next, Good Night and Good Luck. He's just that very much a charismatic person that you just want to see do a great film. It just hasn't worked in his favor, unfortunately. It's just unfortunate nature. So with this film, I was still optimistic to see it. I really wanted to know if he could deliver on a more low-key type of film. And you bring in William Monahan, like I said, won the Oscar for The Departed. And the question kind of remains is what is my official opinion on this movie? How's the direction, all that kind of stuff. And I will officially say that I enjoyed this movie, but I have a lot of reservations about it, to be fairly honest, and mostly negative. This is a movie filled with fantastic performances, to be fairly honest. Ben Affleck is always great as the actor. He's really just one of those individuals that has a lot of charisma. I think, Ty Sheridan, for what it's worth, is doing pretty decent in here. I think Lily Rabe, who's the mother, is great and fantastic in the role she's given. Christopher Lloyd's a lot of fun. His friend's good. The kind of girlfriendish character is fine. And the set pieces and the cinematography and the kind of the world is very well represented and stuff like that. But once again, like I enjoy a lot of George Clooney's movies, this is a movie filled with more of less the sum of its whole parts. It has great performances. It just doesn't have a great story, to be fairly honest. I think the story is very bland by the book. It's amazing that this is a memoir-based story based off somebody's life, I guess you could say. And I don't feel like William Monahan had a good concept on the script, which he hasn't had since The Departed. I think George Clooney does the best he can with the movie, but I just think overall, this is the major problems with George Clooney's movies, where there's a lot of interesting kind of concepts and ideas being presented, but they're not fully executed on those ideas. I feel like there's a lot of plot hole problems sometimes. I feel like the movie has a lot of excise stuff cut out of the movie, where there's a lot more interesting kind of, just sitting around talking type stories going on, and they're just kind of excised for time. And I just think overall, the movie loses its way as it starts to move along, and it gets to a conclusion where it's like the hoorah, yeah moment. And I don't think that's a story I really enjoy especially when it comes to George Clooney's types of directorial material. And I feel like that about this movie. I just feel like it's just kind of a middle of the road type story with not a lot of interesting stuff to tell, nothing new to tell, and it doesn't even do it very well on the stuff it's trying to tell. There are points where Ben Affleck's talking to the younger younger JR character that's, you know, eventually played by Sheridan, and he's just there as like a guy that's the cool guy, the cool uncle, the one we always want to hang out with as a kid, and there's no real substance of like trying to push this kid to become better, and it's not until Sheridan's character comes in the mix as the older JR that we really feel anything of empathy or sympathy for the Ben Affleck character, even though he's good in the movie. And it's the same thing with the Lily Rabe character. As good as she is in the movie, she's not really given much to do, not really given much to say. She's just an anchor point for this Ty Sheridan character to do something. And when he goes to Yale, it just, once again, just like the content in there is just not really well developed and represented. And it's just weird that I like this movie, but it's just, I have so many problems with the storytelling and the kind of concept and conceit of it. You know, I don't blame J.R. Mooringer for having this book turned into a movie. I just think he deserved better. I think there is a story here that could be well done and, you know, almost Oscar-worthy material, but I just don't think it's with George Clooney and William Monahan. I honestly don't. I think it's a movie that just, it attempts to be something powerful and ends up being just something kind of weak and limp in the end, which is kind of a shame. But like I said, at least the acting performances are good. It's not George Clooney's worst movie, which is really interesting. And it has some good, you know, set pieces and some good, you know, cinematography. It just, everything else just kind of completely falls flat. So I will say it's still interesting to watch. It's still entertaining to watch. Just knowing it going in, it's not that great of a movie. That's where I stand. I stand down the middle when it comes to this type of film. So, but yeah, I think that's my overall take on the movie of The Tender Bar. Like I said, it definitely shows the weaknesses of George Clooney. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Comments below. What did you think of this movie? Did you enjoy it? All that good stuff. Otherwise, if you like what you see on this video, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like any of the videos, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.